Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Detroit in Black and White, our Saturday morning's edition. On deck, we have Mr. Jim Nardoni, the former chief of police for the Trenton Police Department. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. Good to see you this morning. Excited today.
I'm excited today as well. We also have, we're expecting Adolph to join us, but we're going to do what we do every Saturday. Alan is not here today because he has had a commitment, but we're going to hold down the ship. So, first of all, I want to tell everybody that is watching Detroit in Black and White, you already know what we want you to do. You already know what we want you to do. We want you to like, subscribe, and share. To share is free. We also want you to know that you can catch us on all social media platforms. If you want to make a comment in the comment section, you always can do that. But you could also come on into the room by using that code, that link that's sitting up there right in the corner of your screen. Take your phone, put it on the camera, and come on into the room. If you have questions that you want to ask, go ahead and ask it. We have a pretty hot show today. We have a guest that's coming on the show this morning, but we want to do some acknowledgments. You want to take the acknowledgments, Jim?
I just want to say good morning to our friends out there. Kenneth Reed, good morning. Stephanie Jackson, good to see you this morning. Derek Henry. And I just want to say I'm excited because we have the Wayne County Executive, Warren Evans, Mr. Warren Evans coming on. And it's always a big deal to me because for many, many years, Sheriff Evans and Police Chief Evans and left a huge mark in the law enforcement community and is still doing good things for the county, so and for Southeast Michigan and for the country. So I'm excited about that. So I wish Adolph were here. I'm guessing he's not here through no fault of his own.
Right.
Hopefully he'll join us shortly. If not, go a little easy on him because life is not always easy for Adolph these days, but we're thinking about him and we hope he gets here any minute.
Okay, so what we will do is less is more. Good morning. Kenneth Reed, good morning. Dewayla Boyce, good morning. Steph, good morning. Dewayla, good morning. Bridget Huff, good morning. Or T, as we call her, Tracy.
I'm sorry. I need to apologize to her because I was harassing her last night. And I hope that I mentioned her. She was at your event. It was great to see her. We had a great conversation. And we're glad to see you. I don't care what name she was.
You don't care what they call. Well, you know what? Let me say this because I did get a phone call last night. And it was like, what event were you talking about? So I'm running for, this is the season, I'm running for Wayne County Probate Court. We had a breakfast for volunteers, and it was a way of telling people that we appreciate them. Because you know what, people are always asking for somebody, especially in when they're running for office, and I'm sure Sheriff, Wayne County Exec actually, Warren Evans will talk about that. But people are always asking for people to pour into them. But you have to give back, and that was our way of giving back to those people that decided to volunteer and be on Team Vanessa Moss for Wayne County Probate Court. So without further delay, I'm going to introduce our guest who is on right now, our Wayne County Exec, Mr. Warren Evans. Mr. Warren Evans is the Wayne County Executive, former deputy for the Wayne County Sheriff, also DPD, also former prosecutor, also a professor. What else do you do?
Can you hear me?
I can. What else do you do? Good morning.
Taught school still do actually, but for about 38 years at college too. And it really doesn't sound like or seem to me like a lot. It's just what I do, what I've always been interested in, public service and providing a service. So it's always been a natural fit for me. How are you both this morning?
We are both doing just dandy.
Fine, thank you. Great to see you this morning.
Good to see you. I wasn't sure that you could hear me as I was coming in. So if you saw me making gestures, it was just trying to make sure everything was hooked up. I'm good.
Yeah. So, Mr. Evans, what do you want to talk about today? I mean, we know that we are in the campaign season, and you're on the ballot. Is that correct?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
So, what are some of the things that you want to talk about, in particularly what's going on in Wayne County, and what are the issues that people are facing in Wayne County?
Yeah, that is you hit the nail on the head. The first one for me is the issue of transit, which is a millage vote on August the 4th. And I want people to understand a couple of things. One is Wayne County has 43 communities in it. 17 of them opt out of transit, which means the transit plan has to work around those communities that aren't opt in. And it makes for, in my mind, a makeshift transit system for the others, and a real loss of potential for those communities that opted out. So on August the 4th, the vote is either we opt into transit, all 43 communities, or we just don't have smart bus service at all. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. And I think that, the transit system is so important to Wayne County to have a good, solid transit system. Macomb's overcome their obstacles. Oakland's overcome their obstacles. And we're still the ones sitting here trying to decide whether we should be in or we should be out. I've been in office now. This is my 12th year. I've never sought a tax increase or a millage increase at all, and generally don't believe in them unless they're just essentially necessary. In this instance, I think it is. Business is very, very supportive. I mean, a couple of things we have to look at here, and it's like a lot of people look at transit like, I don't use the bus, so therefore, I don't want to opt in or I don't want to support it. And I think they're missing an awful lot of things. One is students trying to get where they need to go, seniors trying to get to medical appointments and other related things that are in a position not to be able to drive or not have transportation available. Employers tell me every day that they have trouble getting employees to the places of employment, and the customers also. So when you talk about the hospital system, people would be amazed at how many employees of the hospital system need public transportation to reliably get to work. I mean, I think for all the right reasons, the average homeowner would pay $8 a month for the enhanced bus service. And I just think it's critical to the region. We want to call ourselves a region that's growing and doing economically well. And the reality is we're not a region until we act like one.
Okay. I want to go to a couple of questions as it relates to what you're talking about. You have Mr. 1213. He says, what are you doing to convince those communities in Wayne County to opt back in? We also says, how will you, that's another question, but here it is. How will you repurpose the old Wayne County building? It was such a beautiful building. That's from Tracy Smith. Leslie Moore says, did Mr. Evans give the order to send DPD officers to look? I don't have my glasses on.
I can answer it. I mean, I'm sorry, I can finish it, but I can answer that question for. Appreciate the question, Les, but the chief typically is a little bit insulated from the day-to-day operations of any police agency. You want to talk about that? We'll call you Chief Evans or Sheriff Evans.
Yeah, let me answer the first question first, because it was related to transit, if that's okay. What we've done with the transit plan is, for the last 6, 8, 10 months, we've gone to every community in Wayne County, sat with the leadership in those communities, and asked them what they'd like to see the transit system do for their communities. I fully understand that every community is different. Every community has different needs, and the leadership in those communities are the people best situated to tell us that. Some of it is, seniors, microbus, getting seniors from their homes to community meetings, to community events. There are lots of different things. And so I think a direct answer to his question is, we reached out to every community and said, what can this transit system do for you? What should we put in it that works for you? And that doesn't mean that everybody said, oh, okay, I'm great with it. What I'm saying is we are still talking and working with a number of communities, and I think they understand and appreciate the fact that we're trying to tailor a system for their community. If they're going to opt in, they need to opt into something that's beneficial for them. And that's what we're trying to do.
Okay.
And I think the question is about a collective. Aren't we better as a collective than aren't we better when we merge resources?
No, absolutely. And it loosens up federal dollars that can come in to benefit us all. I mean, we're all paying federal taxes. A lot of people act like that's some different money. It's not. It's our money. And we are a donor state. We put far more federal tax money to the government than we ever get back. And having a transit system that works well allows us to opt into and attempt to get additional monies from the federal government to smooth out and enhance the system. And when you do that, I mean, you're doing a lot of the right things. I mean, we spend a lot of our time dealing with kids that aren't doing the right thing. I'm not sure we spend enough money on helping the kids that are trying to do the right thing get to where they need to go and support the things that they're trying to do. And one of the things that I'm adamant about in this millage is if kids get on a smart bus, this thing passes, and they got a school ID card, they ride free. I want them to get where they need to go. I want them to get to their employers. I want them to get to their job training. I want them to get to college or community college. I mean, that's how we make the region better.
Let me ask you this question, though, because at the end of the day, property owners want to know, how much is this going to cost me? What's the bottom line?
Yeah, I know, absolutely. I said it a little bit earlier. You might have missed one. I said it. $8 would be the average for a $200,000 home. $8 a month. And that in this time when gas is almost $8 a gallon, I get it. But I also get the fact that those without cars, those without the ability to pay for the gas, those on tight budgets. And the other thing is young people now, I mean, I'm of the generation that having a car was a must. Working on cars was fun, all of that. Young people now, many do not want to drive.
They don't even get licensed. They don't even get licensed at 16. When I turned 16, everybody wanted to drive. But they don't even do that. They take an Uber.
Right.
I have a question. Welcome to the show. Sorry I'm late. But how can we convince these other communities that we really, really need this transit system, some type of transit system? And, it's like people walking to work. You see the stories on the news where a guy was walking 20 miles a day to go to work, which is crazy. We're talking about the wintertime, etc. But how do you get somebody that says, "Oh, we don't need anything," or we build a little? I call it a toy train, the Q line. That's a toy. Why couldn't we just build something that take people places?
It's kind of a twofold question. One is the way you convince them is to go to the communities, go to the activities in the communities that people attend, and just try to make the case for the importance of the millage now, the importance of having a transit system that doesn't bypass 17 communities, and to convince people that we're not talking about trying to create light rail or something that's hundreds of millions of dollars to do. That's not what this is about. This is about having competent, regular, well-running bus service for the county, and we will do what we can if and when we get to that point to try to get federal monies to expand and do well with the system as we look at it. Now, in Oakland County, for example, the northern communities in Oakland County fought tooth and nail for a while against having transit in their county, not ours, in their county. Once it passed overall, now you look and where are the greatest increases in people using the transit? It's those northern Oakland County communities now using it because it's there and coming down to Pontiac and other places. And so I think we don't want to be short-sighted and say, if we're not going to use the bus, we're against transit. I mean, sometimes you have to think about, as Mr. Nardoni said, what's good for the region and what's good for the community and what's good for the rest of us. And I think resoundingly it's transit.
I want to pivot. I want to turn to another question because people have asked me, we've produced the show, we've promoted the show. People want to know, ask Executive Evans these questions. So one of the big things I asked you about issues, one of the big things it appears that is the whole thing about homes, properties in Wayne County that have been foreclosed on, and people being able to get their money if the home is sold, people are able to get their money back and them having to fill out a document in order to get their money back. And the question has been, why is that? And we know that the Wayne County executive has something to do with it. So could you please answer that question?
Yeah, it's a very difficult question, but I'm going to hit it straight in the face. First of all, the treasurer of Wayne County is the person who forecloses properties and has a process for that, not the county executive. It is the treasurer. And I have been a strong advocate for not foreclosing on the properties. If in any way we can do that, I have a reputation with those advocates that know that's the case. When I was sheriff, I stopped the foreclosure process until I got sued by everybody in the country, all of the mortgage companies to try to open it back. So I have a solid history of being supportive of not foreclosing on properties if we can do it. But people need to understand every elected official has a role, and my role is not foreclosures. I can advocate, I can talk about it. And the part of the question that I asked about, filling out the forms and that sort of stuff. I mean, there's nobody sitting at City Hall with stacks of money passing it out because you come up and say you lost your home. So, paperwork is an acknowledgement of how much is owed, what can be done here. As you know, that's been in litigation for a number of years, and there has been a settlement, and monies are being paid. So the treasurer tells me, but I don't want to jump off a cliff in somebody else's world. But the other part of it is, there's a lot of animus that goes around about whose fault it is, and I can tell you, it ain't mine. It ain't my job. And I've always been an advocate for not foreclosing on homes when we can. There's no question that it's been inequitable. And lots of people, 30 years ago, we were a home-owning county, which was the strength of the community, was home ownership. And I think everyone can see a negative spiral when you have rental properties in significant numbers, especially when it's absentee landlord sort of stuff.
Should we take a break, Adolph, and then get to some of our viewers?
Yeah, let me ask the question, and then we'll take a break. No, we'll take a break and we'll come back.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990. or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
Welcome back to Detroit in Black and White. Our guest is Wayne County Executive Warren Evans. Jim, you wanted to read some questions that our viewers have for the county exec.
I'm going to read a few, and you can address whichever ones you feel you should, Mr. County Executive. Janet Overall says, good morning, everyone shared. Les says, please address the Ayanna Jones tragedy. Terry McCrimmon says, even I knew it was Eric Sabri who was in charge of the foreclosures in Wayne County. Thank you, Terry. It's good to see you. Tamari, contributor for Equine. You were wonderful about stopping foreclosures, and a thank you and a big heart for you, Mr. Evans. Paperwork is sent after the homeowners have moved and have no idea of the opportunity to receive funds. Stephanie Jackson. Thank you, Stephanie. Or lose federal funding. Why couldn't the money be simply turned over to the state of Michigan? Unclaimed property. Charles Stiles by Miles Clothing Store, Miles. The millage rates are already the highest in the USA. Why haven't we stepped in to fix this? Why haven't, I guess it's directed at you, Mr. Evans, why haven't you stepped in to fix this all the time you've been in office, talking about millage rates, high millage rates? And Stephanie says, Adolph, Mr. Adolph, thank you for breakfast. In Los Angeles County, the feds mandated countywide access for citizens, including Beverly Hills, Malibu, etc. So Detroiters will have a Wayne County millage and a DPSCD millage on the ballot. Detroiters always support the better benefits and services for our students. I think you're right, Tracy. Thank you for your comment. I remember when we had the trolley cars that ran by electricity. It was cleaner and cheaper. Juneteenth is a good warm-up for peaceful revolution, Olympics, after party, and award ceremony. Exile the Knights of Malta now. Thank you for your comment. Tell the residents in those communities that they could use transit to go downtown to attend events and games without paying high prices for parking and getting their cars vandalized. Mr. 1213, thank you. That's all about the collective that we spoke about, that Mr. Evans spoke about. Can the MIDC grants for public defense be expanded for non-attorney services? Stephanie. And Kenneth's in recovery from the Juneteenth bash. We're glad you're with us. Those suburban and rural communities don't want black people in their communities less. I think I'll stop there. I saw kids doing the right things yesterday on Juneteenth and not so-called teen takeovers. Thank you, Terry. We always focus on the bad. That's the media's job, unfortunately. Creating a better
I want to address somebody said you don't see black people in the rural community. You could say that when I was coming up, but I don't think you can say can make that statement, because black folks are everywhere, especially Macomb, Oakland, the places that, when I was growing up, you very seldom seen a black face.
And I will ask the Wayne County executive, who I believe spoke at a graduation. I think it was a graduation event at Brownstown High School. A year, was it last year?
Yes, sir.
And I think
we had the state of the county in Woodhaven.
Oh, it was the state of the county. Okay. And people need to get out to see these communities, because they're not exactly the way some folks believe that they are anymore. Am I wrong, Mr. Executive?
I would certainly agree. While there's still migration in the county and people moving out of Detroit, people moving back in, a lot of the Western Wayne County suburbs have picked up the migration population. And so the number of African Americans in the county is very different than it was 10 years ago.
Well, I have a question about the state of the Democratic Party in Michigan.
Can you
go ahead?
Can you give me one minute of discussion? There's somebody who keeps asking about this Ayanna Jones issue of 10, 15, 20 years ago. Let me
2010, I believe, around that.
I think the question is, did I give the direction or was I involved in the search warrant where the tragedy occurred? The answer to that is unequivocally no.
Okay.
Before you finish, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. You know how it is when you're running for office. I got to get out of here. You all have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful show. I love you all.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'd like to add something to that comment about it was a tragedy in Detroit on that day. It was in 2010. And as a police executive, as somebody that's in charge of a police agency, our hearts always bleed when someone gets hurt or somebody dies, regardless of whether it's justified or not justified. So I think that people need to understand that there's a lot of police chiefs out there, a lot of executives that lose sleep, even in justifiable instances.
Yeah,
I agree.
Shit happens, and unfortunately, people lose their lives and loved ones. We all.
But the tragedy is real. I mean, there's no question
There's
about
no
it.
question. No
And
question.
I can't tell you how many times as a police executive, I was up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning in hospitals where young people were shot, those sorts of things. You can't help but feel it. There's nothing I can do. I'm not a doctor to be at the hospital, but you're at the hospital because you care. You're at the hospital because you're supportive of the family. You're at the hospital because you want your people doing the best job they can to come to the right conclusion on a case. And so I've always had that passion and I always will. That's why you're in public service.
No question. My question goes back to the state of the Democratic Party in Michigan. You think they're going to get it together by November? Because it seemed like we split with progressives here and this faction over here. Look like, well, according to the polls, and polls don't vote, is that there might be a Republican landslide.
Yeah, I don't know, have that read. I think that the national politics is driving the local politics in ways that it's difficult to measure. As a county executive, I and as my colleagues in Oakland and Macomb, we spend an awful lot of time trying to manage the resources that we have and provide the best services we can to the constituents who we represent. And oftentimes it's less party driven than it is practically, driven by how do we try to get things done. I've always been a Democrat, fact to be known, I don't think in the last 70 or 80 years there's ever been a Republican office holder at the county level. It's been a Democratic county. But I also understand that probably 30-40% of the county is Republican. And my job is to provide services to 43 communities, not to assess which one's Republican and which one's Democrat. It really doesn't make a whole lot of difference to me. I'm sworn to provide the best services I can to all of them. But back to your central question, I don't get that. I don't get a good read, Adolph. I mean, I think that the more radical, the more difficult the president and at the federal level, things that occur, whether it's, the war in Iran or other sorts of things, are moving people to the Democratic Party as a response, because we've always been Republican or Democrat, and people who have that issue with the current administration are moving more to the Democratic Party. My read is that's kind of what tanked Mike Duggan's independent campaign. The idea that most people are not comfortable with taking a chance sitting in the middle and saying I'm an independent. It's a party reaction if they feel Republicans are overboard. Then you go Democrat. If you think the Democrats have been too liberal too long, you go Republican. And that's always the way I've seen the swing from my opinion. It's not based on any empirical data, but that's the way I see it.
Yeah, well, I know your time is tight this morning. You have some parting words for our audience?
First of all, it's just good to see both of you, both Mr. Nardoni and yourself. We go back a long time, and I appreciate the activism of both of you. Adolph and I have either been in a love relationship or a hate relationship at some point in time for 20 minutes, but at the end of the day, it's not really love or hate. It's about trying to get to the same philosophical goal, but sometimes we have different means, so we try to do it. I appreciate being on the show. I appreciate the questions. I just, sometimes questions are more of an indication of a preset idea about something than it is an honest, genuine question that the person wants an answer to. But I mean, I'm here to answer questions. I appreciate all of the good comments that I'm reading down here in the line. And hey, if you guys need me back, I'd be happy to come back.
Well, yeah, we are. You come anytime, and thanks a lot, County Executive Warren Evans.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you for your contribution.
All right. Bye now.
Well, sorry I got late, got tied up in traffic,
Yeah, well, I think we can love people that are in elected office, or we can dislike or hate people that are in elected office. No one can argue that the Wayne County Executive has put his heart and soul into the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, into the city of Detroit, into the position of Wayne County Executive. You don't have to agree with them. And that's fine. We all have our vision and our view of maybe the way things should be, and we appreciate everybody's perspective. We really do.
And a statement I should have, but I didn't mean to say, it's
minimize.
So what I'm saying is this stuff that we can't control sometimes, and it happened in my family, happened in a whole lot of families. And you try to get your arms around it and say, why did this shit happen? And no, I wasn't dismissing that as no big deal. It is a big deal with anybody that get killed in the city or in the house, especially kids.
And you lost your brother to violence, right, Adolph? So you can relate.
Yeah. And I can, you join a club, that's a club you don't want to be in.
And Vanessa's also in that club.
You do not want to be in this club. So, I apologize if people took it the way it came out. I know I can say shit, but no.
And I want to go back to the tragedy of death, right? People are born, and preventable death is the worst kind of death. And when you're a police executive, it hurts just as much when people, and I'll say it again, I've seen death, police justifiable death and police not justifiable death, and it hurts the same if you're in charge of a police agency. It hurts just as much when somebody that's justifiably is killed than it does when somebody that isn't justified that's killed.
Well, we had a police chief here just recently, James White, and he used to come on TV after every killing. He was there, and you could see his face. He didn't have to say anything. How it was eating at him. I really think that's one of the reasons he left and took another job.
And there's no question that, it's preventable death. Exile, the Knights of Malta now said, I used to get angry instead of finding qualified empathy. Thank you for your comment. It's tragic. Nobody goes to work prior to, some people are out there thinking police officer that ends up whether it's a bad killing or a good killing, their lives are forever altered and typically for the worse, right? They have to live with it. Anybody that hurts or kills somebody else outside of policing, you know, you have to live with that stuff. And it's tragic. 1-year-old black boy killed by the cops in Mississippi. Les, thank you for that comment. We talked a little bit about it on the show, and I looked at it. It makes me want. It makes us ill, right?
Yeah, why did
over
they
shoplifting? Over
Over
shoplifting.
Yes.
And Tamari wants the Wayne County Executive Warren Evans to come back. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And then we have another high-speed chase out of Warren. It seemed like the Warren police is involved in all these high-speed chases for whatever. Whether somebody stole, somebody shoplift, what a stolen car, I don't know. But it seems that the last 2 or 3 times, people that on their way home from work get killed. And then what I didn't like about the cop, I wasn't too upset. The jury found him not guilty, but it's how they portrayed the 2 guys coming home from work. One, they've been drinking. I'm sure, I'm sure there's cops that get off and work and go to the bar and drink. But it's still, they wasn't in the way. They was not in the way, and they was on their way home. You know.
I'm sorry. The death of Ayanna Jones should not be forgotten. It's a tragic case. It's a stain on the city of Detroit, on the Detroit Police Department, on law enforcement. And
you can't put your kid on the couch and they don't wake up because somebody's shooting through the door. It just and you got to be real careful, especially in a city like Detroit, when people come bamming on your door late at night. The average citizen's got a gun, don't know it, that they don't say police, if they don't hear it. You know, somebody's coming in here, and I might shoot back at them.
Exile has it exactly right. Exile the Knights of Malta. It's prevention. It's risk management. Preventable death is the worst kind of death, and you know, preventable accidents, preventable industrial accidents at the auto plant, or plane crashes, these are all preventable deaths, and that's the most frustrating.
Well, you know, you look at what was the singer from Detroit? She didn't have anybody to tell her not to get on that plane in the Bahamas or whatever one island.
What's her name?
Yeah. And
what was her name?
She was in a hurry. They had too much luggage. They tried to take it all, but it was no grown-ups. When I say grown-ups, somebody to say, okay, she got to go. We're going to have the people stay here. It's plane to come back and get you. So that's a preventable death.
Kobe Bryant. Think about his daughter. Would he have got on that helicopter with his, young daughter to go?
So
think about that tragic,
But somebody got to say something to these young kids that you just can't go around shooting at a house. You can't go around. You still in the car. The police stop you. You keep going, and it always 99% of the time they ended up in a crash where they die or somebody else die that had nothing to do with what you do. So
Mr. 1213 said they did take over Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles through the internet, which existed 10 years ago. Evans was tough on crime. And I can just tell, I can tell you about my experience with Warren Evans as a police chief. We have the Elizabeth Park. We worked together to do some things, mostly through his subordinates, not specifically through him, but I had good experience with the Wayne County Sheriff's Office. They always helped when you needed them. So and he was good to me. So I can't say anything else about that. He was good to these police departments. He was good to these police chiefs. It was important.
And he brought back when he was the Detroit, the mounted police division, because that got cut. See, when people cut, when politicians cut, they don't have to be out on the street without the proper equipment what the police department has. Yeah, so he did some good things as a police chief. He was tough,
Thank you, Mr. 1213. Something about let me get back to it. Suburban police should cease chasing once the perps cross the city limit.
That's been my pet peeve. I asked the mayor of Ferndale, who is now the county exec in Oakland County, why is Ferndale police on 7 Mile? Why are they on McNichols? Why are they and they chase people in Detroit, and you go to their traffic court, 3/4 of the people there for tickets is Detroiters, or they come on, or you can see them, you on Detroit side, and you can look at, there's the Hazel Park police in their jurisdiction. You look at them, they look at you, then they come around and you turn go down the street in Detroit, there they following you for about, I guess, a mile or so, because I know they calling in your license plates or whatever they doing, and then you get a ticket. Yeah, it said that. What if Detroit police did the same thing and you start giving out tickets to the majority of Ferndale residents? They wouldn't have it. They would not have it. I just have a problem. I have a problem. Melvindale police go into Trenton all the time and they making all their revenue off of Trenton residents. You would hear about it. They would call you, Jim, and say, Chief, what's the deal with the Melvindale police? Are they patrolling Trenton? That's how people feel.
I would trust the sheriffs more instinctively than the crooked coroners. Exile the Knights of Malta now. I worry about the Wayne County medical examiner's office too. They have their hands full down there. The problem remains, which is systemic racism. Thank you, Les. I have no argument with you there. I don't think you're wrong. City of Detroit has an ordinance or law that prohibit police chases for specific types of crime. My cousin was killed by the police in an auto accident as a result of a police chase. Thank you, Stephanie. And my heart goes out to you. You have my condolences. If it happened a day ago, or happened a week ago, if it happened 10 years ago, it's again, as we talked about, as Exile talked about, a preventable death. And it's tragic. Tamari agrees with Mr. 1213. Frederick Douglass stated that it's easier, Tracy Smith, 8208. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. That's why I'm voting for both millages. Thank you, Tracy, for that. And we talked about that on the show about hate. Hate doesn't start at 20, it starts at 5. We talked about how ridiculous hate is, but hate doesn't start at 15 years old. Hate starts at 5 years old. And you're absolutely right. I consciously stay out of the city of Warren less. Charles Styles by Miles Clothing Store, Miles. He is good to Dearborn. Thank you for that comment, Charles. Boycott Warren until they stop. Use the helicopters. Suburban police should stop chasing. We talked about that. Warren is notoriously causing the death of innocent people.
I never understood why you would do a high-speed chase if somebody stole a couple pieces of clothing
Pack of cigarettes
out of the store. You don't condone theft, but damn, you want to put other people at risk because they stole from a dollar store. I can't deal with that. let's take.
Kenneth Reed says Ayanna Stanley Jones would have been 22 years old today if she were alive, and we need to pay tribute. Thank you for doing that, Kenneth. Pay tribute to an innocent life that should not have, that she should be here today.
There's no.
I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
There's no question about it. It's just a tragic situation.
And so many. We talked about Tamir Rice, which is one of the worst that I've ever seen in Cleveland.
Man. Playing with a toys that I used to play with, the gun. And
not getting out of the car to find out what's going on, sitting in the car and shooting from a vehicle.
And that cop got hired at a community right next to Cleveland, but they got rid of him when people said, "Oh no, you can't have this guy running around here." You know, yes. Trayvon Martin coming home from the store with some Skittles. I don't even. I refuse to buy Skittles. I thank him when I see it on the shelf that a wannabe cop security person. You know, he's patrolling his area, and Trayvon Martin belonged there. He was with his father. Father lived in the complex. You know, just ridiculous.
And thank you, Les, about your comment about nobody should die for shoplifting. And the point is, property, no life should be measured. No single human life should be measured against anything that's property. And you're right on with that. Adolph and Tracy's talking about the plane crash in the Bahamas. That brilliant singer, Ilea, died in that plane crash. Tragic. Preventable.
Yeah, she should have been. She should be alive. Should be singing. And you know, but people be in a hurry. Well, we go back to Buddy Holly and who was the
Big
other?
Bopper and Richie. What was his name?
Richie.
He was 17. I can't think of his name. Hey, no, that's not Richie Havens. Richie. I don't know. He had a Hispanic name. My mental and spiritual health deteriorates from these anti-human acts. Les, thank you for that. As all of us feel the same way. We could have made bad driving actually illegal in the age of surveillance. We could make bad driving actually illegal in the age of surveillance. And I'm a little worried.
Richie Valens.
Nobody disagrees with you, Tamari. We still have problems in the South with the cops. We have problems in the North with the cops. There are racist cops and everywhere in this country. I'm not going to disagree with that. We need to flush them out. They should not be getting hired in any police agency, but the South's a little different. I will give you that. Thank you for your comment. It's Macomb County.
You can go to New York. Diallo and another young man was brutally killed by undercover cops in New York, or the undercover cops in New York coming out of a strip club. They had been celebrating somebody's wedding, and they got shot by uniform cops. You know, it's tough being in a place where it shouldn't happen.
Thank you, Kenneth Aliyah. I appreciate that. I just hadn't remembered it. It's been quite a while. Richie Valens was the name of the singer. I knew it was something.
They was in a rush. They were in a rush because that bus they were on was cold, didn't have heat, so they're gonna take a plane and they're gonna fly in a snowstorm. Same way with what's his name, Otis Redding. He was in a rush to get to a concert, and
they never got to.
Yeah, because they take chances, especially when I'm paying for it, and I'm sure Kobe Bryant he took a helicopter ride all the time. It was like a taxi cab, an Uber for him, and he probably told the guy, "Hey, man, we cool. You keep flying."
G Money talks about who was it? I forgot. Ricky Nelson. Thank you, G Money, who died The Leonard Skinner plane crash in 1977. They knew they had a faulty plane, and it goes on and on and on, right? What's predictable is preventable. And
Patsy Cline,
yeah.
all these folks. Yeah, you start adding it up. How many? I said, man, how many of the?
JFK Jr., who was not prepared to fly that plane,
And
but
then his sister, 2 years later, sister, not his sister, his uncles died in a plane crash in World War II, Joe Jr., and his sister died in a plane crash right after World War II. So all these people die from these plane crashes. You go to Alaska, they have the highest rate of plane crashes in the United States, in Alaska, because a lot of places you can't drive, you can't take a boat, you got to fly in. The capital, you can take a boat to get to Juneau. You got to fly into Juneau, but you can't drive to Juneau. So yeah, people get in these little planes, and they probably got lost more politicians, elected officials, in plane crashes than anybody in the U.S. Yeah.
Back to Tamari's comment, I don't want to leave that. Tracy Smith says racism is the elephant in the room, an underlying issue for the countywide transit system. Check.
You know what? And that's a lot of it is, and I know that in Livonia a couple of years ago, they was talking about building a new Walmart or one of those big stores, and they had opposition from residents saying, we don't want these Detroiters coming here. That's all that's going to be in the store, and all this other stuff, saying all kind of things. So some of it is bigotry.
Yeah.
People don't want. Some people just can't get over the fact that this is a diverse country.
And that's why Tracy and Les and all our viewers here, Exile, that's why Tamari Kemet, don't stop doing what you're doing. There's racism in police agencies. There's racism in government. I saw it. I worked in it. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it doesn't exist. But you guys are making a difference every day. Thank you, Tamari. Thank you, Exile, Stephanie, Terry McCrimmon, Les, Tracy Smith. The list goes on and on. Everybody on this show, you're making a difference. Les is talking about that. Let's not forget that 1-year-old boy down there, Les, that had, there is absolutely no reason that baby who was a threat to nobody should be gone. And I appreciate it. Yeah. I appreciate our viewers, and don't change who you are. Keep doing what you're doing, because you may not believe it, but every time someone speaks out against it, you make a difference in this world. Thank you.
Well, there's no question about it. Let's turn the page a little bit. What was your outrage of the week, or the month, or the year? I haven't done it in a long time.
Well, my outrage, and we talked about it last night. I'll go this way. My outrage is people hijacking the American flag. And we talked about an ad. I don't know if you saw it, Adolf. We had it on the show, Eric Nesbitt, who's running, who thinks he owns the American flag. And I said last night, and I'll say it right now, the American flag belongs to all Americans. It's been stained, it's been torn, it's been burned, and maybe sometimes it should be. But it doesn't just belong to people like Donald Trump and Eric Nesbitt. It belongs to whoever wants to honor it, whoever wants to dishonor it. It's a stretch to say if someone's positive to say about Judaism. I think it's highly predictable because it's always in a sad way. Exile. God bless all, Stephanie Jackson. Thank you. So, thank you, Exile. I'm not sure I understand it. Hazel Park Taekwondo. People will never get over this being a diverse country when you have an occupant constantly agitating things. I think you're talking about the guy in the White House.
Yeah.
but don't quit, Hazel Park. We can't quit. We can't change the way we are because we sometimes we have negative consequences. People are out there working. There's people in police departments trying to make them more professional. There's people in government. There's people in industry, and it's people like you out there. So,
Well, you know, I agree with you about the American flag. Some of these assholes think, "Oh, I got the American flag," and you know, and right along with the American flag, they flying a Confederate flag and a Nazi flag, and talking about that's my right as an American. I guess that is your right, but the same people that that dogged out people like Ali for not going to Vietnam, or they want to forget that we had black soldiers in World War I and World War II and Korea come home to Jim Crow, and some of them died lynched in uniform. Some of them was beat half to death, blind. I read a memoir of one of the first Black Marines. He went home on furlough in Alabama, and he had on a Marine Corps uniform, and two MPs, the Navy MPs, saw him and beat him, saying, "What are you doing with wearing that uniform? There's no black folks in the Marine Corps." And you know, and stayed in Brig for 2 months. They had him deserting, you know, because these folks, that it's just unbelievable. So
unimaginable that it was safer overseas at war than it was safer
right,
in Mississippi.
right. And talk about well, I fought, I won all these medals, come home, and you bet not. You got to go in the back. You can't use the public fountain. We don't serve black folks gas and all this other stuff. So yeah, the American flag. They can do the American flag all the fuck that they want to. They don't own it. There's a whole lot of other people died defending it. Even they defended even when the country that they was fighting for didn't love them. And I tell you, so who owns the American flag? Those folks that gave their lives or gave their time and came home and didn't profit from it, couldn't get the GI Bill, couldn't get government loans, and they worked their ass off. So yes, when people say I didn't do that, that was my ancestors did that, but you profited from it, you know, and you still, some of these people still push those scenarios, you know. So yeah, they you can run, what Joe Louis say, you can run, but you can't hide, you know, and you can keep moving up north and move out the state or whatever. Somebody that I went to Idaho, and Idaho has a reputation of the militia and all these other folks, but Boise, Idaho is a very diverse city, you know, and that pisses off a lot of people, but it's a real nice city because a lot of folks are, you know, getting away from California, getting away from some of these crowded areas, and now they've been rediscovered. So
thank you, Deborah, for the patriotism of your family. Thank you, Janet. Overall, Adolph, I want you to tell a quick story if you can do that. Detroit in black and white less. We don't run away from hard to talk about issues because we represent the people on this show and the people represent this show. It works both ways. Thank you, Exile and Isa Malta now for your comment. That's right, Adolph. Adolph, I want you to tell a little, you know, you're talking about this. And the reason it came up is because I had received a present, a birthday present. I didn't buy it, but an American flag on it. I went to the Tiger game and I wore it for the first time. I was a little uneasy about it. So I didn't want people to think I was representing a certain group of, you know, politicians. But I want you to tell the story about New Orleans. If you'd share that with your viewers about going into the bar in New Orleans with a Confederate flag, will you tell that story? I think our viewers would love it.
Well, Katrina, I went down to New Orleans, never been to New Orleans before, went there because I was writing an article for one of the newspapers here. I went there. Warren Evans was there. When he was the sheriff. Yeah, I think he was the sheriff or the police chief. He got me into New Orleans because it was blocked off. 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm with a photographer and a person that's from New Orleans. She was showing us around. We're taking pictures, talking to people that couldn't get out. And there was not many restaurants open. Everybody gone. But there was one, had a big sign out there says, make my day. You know, in other words, come in there, they're going to blow you away. Had a big Confederate flag out flying. I said, well, I'm hungry. I'm going in there. And, and the people I was with said, no, I'm not going in there. I went in there. It was a good old boy bar. And they had a Confederate flag on one end. They had a Marine Corps flag on the other end. I go up to the bar. I said, Semper Fi. And the bartender said, oh, you a Marine? Yeah. And he started talking. I said, I got some people out there. They hungry. I go get them. They fed us. We drank and didn't have to pay anything. And we left out of there. And the people, the photographer said, I was scared the whole time. I said, you know, I guess, you know, I'm all they could do to us was tell us to get out, or we're not serving you, or whatever. But we had something in common, me and the owner of the bar. He was in the Marine Corps. I was in the Marine Corps.
Two patriots that had more in common than they had in different, right?
Yeah. So
Exile, thank you. Jesuitism is the word you're using. I'm so sorry because I made a mistake there. I apologize, Exile. I got it now. Trying to read them. I need to put my glasses on. Jesuitism is what Jesuits do. They have a fascist formula. Thank you for that comment. Adolph, before we leave, do you mind if I read these?
Yeah, go ahead.
Veterans should live free of charge with a home paid in full. Stephanie Jackson. Thank you, Stephanie. I respect the flag in relation to fallen veterans. Otherwise, don't be a flag Muppet online, and it's always divisional. Thank you, Exile. I just think it's tragic that somebody thinks that, you know, they've decided what a patriot is, and if you're not part of their little cult, you can't be a patriot, which is bullshit. In an overcrowded chat room, the flag Muppets are the first to get blocked. Then you can deal with the liars one at a time to see if they're corrupt or not. Thank you. Adolph, you gave them the opportunity to embrace their humanity, Les says. And I think there's a bigger message there. We're not different. We're all the same. We all believe in the same thing. We just look at different ways to get there. We need to get back to that instead of this division. Thank you, Dwayla. Good to see you. Black veterans are disrespected because of our history of building America by slavery is not respected. Reparations. Thank you, Tamari, for your comment. I think I just about got everybody. I don't want to leave anybody. It's a doggone shame that the veterans struggle. Kenneth Reed, 7913, to get the benefits, i.e. GI Bill, education, benefits, housing. It's I can't even tell you what I think it is. It's unimaginable.
And it's unimaginable that we got a Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, blocked the promotion to Admiral and General of the majority of the people he blocked. And they say why is he involved? It should be the Secretary of the Army or the Secretary of the Navy. And they was people of color and women. Listen, they trying to change the narrative. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. But this is what some people do. We'll be back next week on Wednesday.
We have a friend from Texas. Ben Frank is saying peace. Terry 84, greetings from Texas. Thank you, Janet. Check out Spike Lee's When the Levee Broke. I remember Marvin Gaye used to sing to me. He had a feeling like black was a thing to be, and suddenly the ghetto didn't seem so tough, and I thought we had it rough. We always had enough. Stephanie Jackson, quoting Tupac.
All right.
Thank you.
Stephanie. We'll be back
Thank you, everybody.
Wednesday and Friday. And thank everybody. Thank Warren Evans, the county exec. Jim, thank you. Vanessa, thank you. Teresa, Mother Teresa, who worked miracles.
Sister Teresa.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll be back next week.